Welcome back to part 2 of our screencast on subject learning and assessment review meetings. If you have just engaged in the SLAR type activity, this would be an important moment to reflect on what you have just experienced, either individually or collectively as a group. Perhaps pause the screencast and consider your response to the 2 questions presented on the screen. Proficiency in making consistent global judgments requires practice, not only with multiple cases, but also with variety. Numerous cases over the fullest range possible are crucial in building up experience in judging quality as expressed through differing configurations. A key message here is that our understanding will constantly grow and develop over the years. The more samples we have in varying formats and the more experiences we have will deepen our learning around assessment of the classroom-based assessments. So if at this point we ask ourselves, how can we as a subject department get the most from a SLAR meeting? Some issues we think may be of note are presented here on screen. It might be a good idea to take some action points of issues the subject department needs to address. Or you may have actually discussed issues relating to recording and storing samples earlier, and these may have required some action points. It is also a good idea to recognise the role of the facilitator and identify ways in which teachers within the department can support him or her. How will we make his or her job easier before the SLAR meeting, but also during the SLAR meeting? Finally, establishing ways of working as a group would also be important to ensure a SLAR meeting is effective. We need to remember that in a SLAR meeting, teachers will be bringing their own students' work. Perhaps that needs to be thought through a little, and considerations need to be given to identifying some norms or establishing ways of working together as a group to guarantee a trusting space for everyone to engage. At this point, you may want to pause the screencast and consider some of the discussion points presented on screen. Having gone through the during stage of a SLAR meeting, we have now arrived at what happens after the SLAR meeting. We will finalise our provisional descriptors, which may need to be slightly adjusted as a result of decisions made at the SLAR meeting. This is also the time when we as teachers will reflect on our SLAR experience and allow all of the rich subject learning that takes place in SLAR meeting discussions to feed back into our teaching, learning and assessment practices. We also need to consider whether we wish for the samples that we contributed to the SLAR meeting to be stored in the school to use as examples to share with students in the future. There are a number of supports in place for you going forward. You are each other's best support, sharing the learning and engaging in this process together. JCT will always be on hand to offer support to teachers. Our website, www.jct.ie, has a number of resources aimed at supporting teachers. The assessment guidelines are a go-to document in providing clarity around assessment at junior cycle. These can be accessed through www.curriculumonline.ie. And finally, the NCCA have produced booklets which are a wonderful support for teachers in the area of teaching, learning and assessment. These can be found on their website www.juniorcycle.ie. You will note on screen here some key dates for teachers of English, and in particular the 2 subject learning and assessment review meeting dates. We end now by returning to our learning intentions and success criteria. We hope that this screencast has supported you in developing a greater understanding of the structure, purpose and value of SLAR meetings, and that you may have begun to identify ways in which SLAR meetings will further contribute to the collegial and individual development of subject learning in your English department. Thank you for engaging in this screencast.